Welcome to Ursa Medica and welcome to the new look. The bear is Ursa, as in Latin, and sidereal medical astrology can also be called Hindu Vedic and post Vedic Jyotish. Okay, so that's for the brief explanation of the new look. Let's come to today's presentation. So, today I'm going to be discussing about a case study of Michael Douglas. Now, Michael Douglas is a famous Hollywood actor, a celebrity, and he was diagnosed as having tongue cancer in 2010. Okay, and this got cured, within a year. So we are going to be discussing this case today, and before we get into the details, let me just read out or tell you brief points from this disclaimer. I am a medical doctor, and I am deeply interested in researching medical jyotish or medical astrology, and for that I am trying to build bridges between traditional jyotish and ayurvedic concepts. Okay, ayurveda is also a vedanga like jyotish, and the way we understand modern medicine is through the terminology of allopathy. So, if we can understand allopathy through the lens of Jyotish and Ayurveda, we will be enriched. That is what I believe, and therefore, this is a educational exploration. So, with this brief background, we go to the case history of Michael Douglas. Uh, he was born. So, the details here basically are from the source is Internet Astrosage, a reputed site with details, astrological details of celebrities, particularly, and the disease part which I have written here, the symptoms and signs of the tongue cancer which he was diagnosed with, are from Wikipedia, as well as some input from the Oral Cancer Foundation. Okay, now he was born on September 25th, 1944, in New Jersey at 10:30 a.m. Okay, so we will plot his kundali based on these details. I use Parashar's Light as the software of choice, and uh, he's presenting symptoms and signs. Basically, in August of 2010, he announced to the world that he had stage 4 throat cancer, which later on he said that it was not throat cancer. Basically, it was tongue cancer which had perhaps spread to the throat. Perhaps massive lymph nodes in the throat, and the diagnosis was stage 4 squamous cell carcinoma. Okay, allopathic diagnosis. After this, the treatment was initiated, and he got miraculously cured very quickly in January of 2011. So, what I'm interested in analyzing astrologically is also not only the illness per se, his propensity for the disease and the magnitude of the disease, but also the nature and the reason by which he got so quickly cured. Because even those seeds of being cured quickly were also embedded in his chart, and we will look at the Kundali or the concerned Varga charts in great detail. Okay, so with this now, basically we are at a fit position to proceed with the analysis of this chart. Let us look at the approach that we are going to take. So, just for the sake of logical continuity and basically the way you are listening to this, what we are going to be doing is initially doing a detailed characterization of the Kundali, the Lagna Kundali, and try to do a complete workup, basically in terms of which planets are involved, all the interactions, all the nakshatra, Rashi related analysis. We are also going to be looking at some of the the doshas and certain Ayurvedic correlation with the astrological findings. What kind of a Rashi is involved, and do we see any kind of a correlation with respect to the tumor? Um, and we will, after that, we will also try to localize the disease. That's very important. I mean, tongue cancer is fine, certainly, but do we see tongue cancer in the Lagna Kundali, in the D3 chart? We will try to localize this specifically, and I can try to show you something which will be quite miraculous. And then we will also justify the emergence of this disease. So, how come he got this disease during 2010 and it was announced in August of 2010? There must be a reason for that in terms of certain dashas which made this possible, certain planetary dashas which made it possible, and certain planetary transits or what we call graha gochar which made it possible. So we are going to be looking at these things when we look at the D1 Kundali. So here now we have the, if you see here, we have the D1 and the D9 chart in front, and now if you see here, the D1 chart here is the Janma Kundali and the D9 is the Navamosh Kundali. Okay, now let us analyze in detail this chart. Okay, and we will spend some time on this slide, right? You will also note that I have made some markings or some jottings here with my pen, in terms of different planets and different colors for different planets, and I'm going to be talking about that as well. Now, this is a Libra Lagna, okay, and Libra ascendant, and Venus, the Lord of the ascendant, is in the first house itself and is in the ascendant. So that makes this a strong ascendant. So that's a point to note. Venus Venus in the ascendant makes it a strong ascendant. Now Venus also is the Ashtamesh here. So if you notice 2 and 7 are encircled here. Venus is the Ashtamesh and the Lagnesh. So the Ashtamesh in the Lagna, um, in a sense, make it a strong Kundali, but also predispose this Kundali to some kind of a disease because of the Lagnesh. Now Venus is in which nakshatra? Venus is in the nakshatra Chitra. Now Chitra's lord is Mars. Mars, you will see, is placed in the 12th house. Now if you notice, for Libra ascendant, Mars is also Marakesh, which means it is H2 and H7 lord. Okay, Dvitiyesh and Saptamesh is the Marakesh, and this is Mangal here, or Mars, which is in the 12th house, again in Chitra. So this is the strong Mars, and if you will notice, even in the D9 chart adjoining, the fourth aspect of Mars is on Venus here. If you see, the fourth aspect of Mars is directly on Venus here, correct? And so therefore there is a strong connection between Mars and Venus in terms of also, aggravation of the disease. Also, although Mars is not directly causing the disease, but Mars is certainly aggravating the disease, and we'll come to that a little later. Okay, now the ascendant nakshatra, if you will notice here, is Vishakha. Okay, you can see here that ascendant nakshatra is Vishakha. Vishakha is a Jupiter's nakshatra. Okay, and planetary lord of Vishakha is Jupiter, and Jupiter is placed in the 11th house, and we are going to be talking about Jupiter in great detail because Jupiter is a very important planet in this case for the sake of this disease. Okay, so this is the point to note. Now, important thing to note here is that the way the Mars and Venus are positioned in this chart, with the Libra ascendant and the Mars in the 12th, and again reasonably powerful. You notice also in the D9 Kundali that Mars is powerful. It is Lagnesh of D9, placed in the 5th house in Leo. So it's a strong Mangal in the D9, although it might appear that it is not so strong in D1. And if you notice that in D9, if you look at the longitudinal analysis of the D9 nakshatras, Mars is placed in Purva Falguni in Leo sign in D9. Purva Falguni is a Venus nakshatra. So Mars in Venus nakshatra, again Venus-Mars interaction, which I already spoke to you. And typically, if you notice here, this is that left less than sign. This is the sign of a Mangalik, a Kundali in which there is a very strong Mars element with a. So here, the sexual aspect. This is a very sexual personality, and in fact, Michael Douglas has been even reported saying, and he was perhaps misquoted or quoted that the human papilloma virus, because of oral sex, gave rise to the tongue or the throat cancer. So he was reported as saying that. So we do not know about the reality of that, but basically, this Mars and Venus are quite telling. Okay. Now coming to the next analysis, this being a Libra ascendant, the Badhakesh is the H11 lord, which is Sun. Okay. Now Sun, if you notice, is also the H11 Lord is also the Prati Shashtesh, or it's a mirror of the sixth house from the Bhavat Bhavam. So therefore, where is Sun placed? Sun is placed in the 12th house. Now, Sun also stands for immunity, remember. So, uh, we also need to study the same Sun carefully, because the same person also recovered very quickly from the disease. Okay, Sun stands for immunity, but also the immunity would have been impaired. To get a cancer, you would have to have an impaired immunity, and then, of course, he also recovered later, subsequently, because of treatment. Now, Sun is in Uttara Falguni nakshatra in Virgo in the 12th house. Again, as I said, it is the lord of the 11th house in the 12th house. So in a way, H6 mirror H6 lord in H12 or Vyayasthana in its own nakshatra Uttara Falguni. Okay, so that's the point to note here. And Sun is also in association with Saturn here. So it's kind of an uneasy Sun, because the father and the Sun as an SON don't go well. So here you have the father Sun SUN and the Sun SON Saturn, which are together in the 12th house in the D9 Kundali. So they typically will not go well. And if you notice here that the Sun is also aspected directly, the 8th aspect of Mars is on the Sun. Okay, so it is a immunity which is self-damaging, and you can read my notes here. And therefore, in a sense, Sun also plays a role in the disease, and Sun also plays a role in the recovery. Is my analysis later on. Okay, now let's look at the Mars directly. Mars in itself. Okay, so Mars is a Marrakesh here, as we already said, and Mars is in its own nakshatra. We already discussed that. Okay, and we also said that it has a direct aspect on Venus and Sun. Now let's look at the 6, 8, 12 analysis. So 6, 8, 12 is a very important analysis. House, 6th house, 8th house and 12th house are pivotal to understand in the study of medical astrology, because the 6th house is the Rogasthana or the Ripusthana or the Aristhana as it is called, and it has a direct causative role to play in the disease. Now the sixth lord here is, the sixth house is Pisces, so the lord is Jupiter. Now where is Jupiter placed? Jupiter is placed in the 11th house, which is again a mirror of the 6th house from Bhavat Bhavam. It is placed in Purva Falguni in Leo, Purva Falguni being a Venus nakshatra. So Jupiter is placed in a Venus nakshatra. Jupiter is also H3 lord, which is again a mirror of the 8th house or the house of longevity. Okay, so longevity and disease production, or the loss of longevity and disease production, are all linked. Both the dispositors are Jupiter, and Jupiter is placed in the 11th house. Now Jupiter is conjunct Mercury. Now if you notice, they are literally within 1.5 degrees of each other, or 2 degrees of each other. It is practically conjunct in the same nakshatra, which means in the same Navamaush also. Correct? If you notice in the Navamaush Kundali, it is in the 7th house. Okay, and Mercury is the H12 lord. So the H12 lord is in H11 with conjunct with Jupiter. So this is very important. And if you see, again Jupiter and Sun, there is a kind of a 6-8, or we call it Shadashtak kind of a aspectual relationship. So Sun is 6th from Jupiter and Jupiter is 8th from the Sun. So that's again uneasy, because that Shadashtak between H6 Lord and between the two H6 Lords, H6 and H11 Lords, and the Naisargik immunity Karaka, which is the Sun in a way, is not good for immunity and not good for health, clearly. Okay, so this is one thing we see clearly here. And again Jupiter and Venus share a 212 relationship, okay, in the D9 Kundali. So which is not exactly very great. Now let's talk of Mercury. Now Mercury here is very important. Mercury is the Vyayesh, is the H12 lord, and Mercury, you see the H12 lord is in H11 in uh, again Purva Falguni, which is a Venus nakshatra. So, and again it has a 212 relationship with the sun. So, uh, it is, that's not really a, but then there is an exchange of houses between sun and mercury, so that is a parivartana yoga there, so that perhaps compensates a little bit. Okay, so this is a bit of a understanding, and if you notice below in my markings, in my writings, I have sort of encircled Jupiter and Mercury with a blue highlighter, because the key conspirators here to produce disease, the tumor, is Jupiter and Mercury, supported by, of course, because this being a Libra ascendant, there is a Libra, there is a Venus, which is again supporting Venus in cahoots with Mars, okay, which is supporting the whole disease process. Okay, so now always when we are looking at any kundali, the well-being, we always look at the sun, moon, and the ascendant. Okay, because the sun is the soul, traditionally the moon is the mind, and the ascendant is the body. We need to understand the state of the mind to see how this disease really arose. Now the moon here is in Sagittarius, okay, in Mool Nakshatra. Mool Nakshatra is, and again it's in the third house, which is mirror of the eighth house. Mool Nakshatra is a kind of a nakshatra of suffering, a nakshatra of deep rooted. It's a Ketu nakshatra, nakshatra lord being Ketu, so therefore it indicates some deep suffering, maybe a melancholy nature, some kind of a morbid nature. Okay, some kind of a fascination with maybe masochism with death. And you often find that Michael Jackson has been portraying these kind of gloomy, broody, melancholy kind of hero characters very well in movies. So perhaps there is no coincidence there. And but then, if you look at the D9, you find that the moon is much better placed. In D9, it is in Karka with the Mesh Lagna. It is in the Karka Rashi in the fourth house, so it's very comfortable in the fourth house at home, and that too in Pushya Nakshatra. If you see the nakshatra in D9, the longitudinal analysis of the D9 nakshatras, moon is in Pushya. So although outwardly in melancholy, moon is very well placed and very well anchored. So that also perhaps played a role in terms of his recovery. Oftentimes if the mind is already given up, then physical recovery becomes somewhat difficult. So this is kind of a brief sort of discussion. So we now know which are the planets which are contributed to this whole condition, and now we are in a position to go deeper. Now what I intend to do really is to analyze uh, the D1 and the Dreshkan, the D3 chart, so that we are able to come to the localization of this disease. So now here you can see in front of you here the D3 chart juxtaposed with the Janma Kundali. And now let us understand the Dreshkan. So if Jupiter is at 20 degrees 4 minutes in Purva Falguni Nakshatra in Leo in the D1 chart, it means it is in the third Dreshkan, obviously. And the third Dreshkan of Leo is Aries. So now if you see on the right side in the D3 chart, you find Jupiter, as I said, Jupiter and Mercury are conjunct. So Jupiter and Mercury both are in the Aries Dreshkan along with the moon. Now moon also is in the Aries Dreshkan, because moon is at 10 degrees 30 minutes of Sagittarius Mool Nakshatra, which is the second Dreshkan of Sagittarius. Okay, and therefore here it is Aries. Okay, now let us analyze this Dreshkan. There are many things to look at. Okay, so firstly, let us look at the localization part of this, and then let us look at the characteristic of what we are talking about. This is a very special kind of a discussion, and it's very close to my heart. So I'll try to explain to you what I have understood. Now, Aries is the head. In terms of localizing, Aries is the head. Okay. But if you look at the nakshatras, okay, you have Ashwini, Bharani, Kritika. You have Ashwini, entire Bharani, and the first charan or first pada of Kritika in Aries, right? Now, earlier about 3 to 4,000 years ago, the nakshatra mandala started with Kritika and ended at Bharani. And then the nomenclature changed. Then we start from Ashwini and we end at Revati. Now, traditionally, Kritika has been associated. Kritika, the Lord is sun, and sun basically is the thalamus in the brain. Okay, the thalamus, which is a part of the sensory receiving part of the brain, has an area called the corona radiata. Now, the radiating crown, which means the sun. So the ancients knew what they were talking about. So therefore, Kritika nakshatra is concerned with the thalamus in the brain. Now, if you look at the Bharani and the Ashwini before that, okay, let us try to understand where exactly these are located, and because we have to come to Ashwini here, and because we have to understand what does Jupiter, Moon, and Mercury in Ashwini mean in D3 chart. Okay, so Bharani is concerned with death. The nakshatra devata is Yama. The nakshatra lord is again Venus. Bharani would stand for the medulla oblongata part of the lower part of the brain, because that's where all the vital centers are concerned. That's where the life is concerned. So if something happens to the brain stem, life is extinguished. Okay, if there is a severe damage to the brain stem, life stops. So that is where Bharani is located. Now, if you look at Ashwini, Ashwini is the nakshatra of rejuvenation. Ashwini, the nakshatra deity is the Ashwini Kumars, who are the sons of the solar logos, who are the sons of the soul of the sun. Okay, so therefore they have healing abilities, quick healing, revitalization. Okay, and so what is the part of the so Ashwini is located in the throat. Okay, so what is it that gives us life? What is it that quickly heals somebody? Oxygen. How do we take oxygen? We take oxygen through the mouth, through the nasal cavity, which goes in the oral cavity and then goes into the pharynx. Basically, goes into the air pipes of the trachea. Okay, so therefore the oral cavity basically is under the adhipatya of Ashwini nakshatra. So therefore, if you see here Jupiter and Mercury, we have said that they are the disease-producing planets. They are in the oral cavity, so they are producing typically a oral cancer. Okay, and we are looking at now oral cancer. Let's try to localize this further. Now, let's look at first Jupiter and Mercury, then let us look at Moon. Okay. Now, Jupiter and Mercury are in the third Dreshkan of Leo. Okay, from the D1 chart, they are the third Dreshkan, which is in this case Mesh. Now, the Dreshkanas, the first Dreshkan is called the Karma Dreshkan, the second is the Bhoga Dreshkan, and the third is called the Nasha Dreshkan. So the third Dreshkan is particularly suitable, or it is more conducive to destruction, to damage, rather than the first two Dreshkans. So this is the third Dreshkan for Jupiter and Mercury. So therefore Jupiter and Mercury are likely to create damage. Jupiter here is going to be having to do with the growth of the tissue, the growth of the tumor. Jupiter is in the Ketu nakshatra again, so there is going to be that kind of a suffering involved there. Mercury again, and if you notice, it has a direct drushti in the D3 chart from Venus, which is in the Swati nakshatra in D3, longitudinal analysis of the D3 chart. It is the seventh drushti from there, so there is an aspect of Venus there. So therefore, Jupiter is producing that kind of a growth. Now, let's look at Mercury. So, what does Mercury really signify? So, Jupiter is concerned with food. So, just to complete Jupiter is Jiva. So, concerned with food, concerned with growth, concerned with also abnormal growth here. So, something to do with the mouth and maybe the tongue. Now, Mercury. Now, Mercury is basically a planet which concerns itself with neurological signaling. It's the messenger of the god. It's concerned with the nerve impulses. It's concerned with the receptors also. So the tongue has a lot of nerve receptors. The oral cavity is full of nerve receptors, and the tongue particularly will have all kinds of receptors which are very sensitive to bitter taste, salty taste, pungent taste, astringent taste, for example. So here Mercury is badly afflicted. As we know that Mercury in the D1 chart, it is the Vyayesh also, and it is kind of involved in the whole process. So therefore Jupiter Mercury are conspiring in a way to produce, so the whole taste part is affected here. And now moon here is in the second Dreshkan, so it's the Bhoga Dreshkan. So therefore, as I said already earlier, in the D9 chart we have seen that the moon is well placed. So moon is strong. Again, moon also as a Dreshkan is in the Bhoga Dreshkan. So moon is the articulation. So it's possible that the articulation or the tongue was affected, but then again there was a recovery, so that even after recovering, uh, he has become normal. Okay. Now let us look at further. Let us try to qualify this Dreshkan. The Aries Dreshkan or the Aries is a fiery sign. So that is one aspect. So it's a fiery sign. Mercury represents. Uh, Now that's one. Now second thing is Aries is also a Chara sign. Chara means cardinal, movable sign. So it has to do with movable parts. So the movable parts in the oral cavity, which have a lot of you know um, let's say nerve receptors and fleshy tissue, is the tongue. Okay, so therefore we can localize it to the tongue to some extent. Um, Also, uh, there is another classification of rashis, which is also called as Dhatu Mula Jiva. Okay, which is there in Nadi Jyotish, for example. So Dhatu Mula Jiva. So again, Mesh Rashi or Aries is a Dhatu Rashi. Mula is the so Taurus will be a Mula Rashi, Gemini will be a Jiva Rashi, for example. And Dhatu also translates in Sanskrit to mineral. It also means earth in a way. It also means Saturn in a way. So we are again connected therefore to the earth element, and the earth element is represented again by Mercury. So you see the Mercury correlation here again. Okay. So now, so what we can reasonably deduce here from the D3 analysis is that this disorder was in a fleshy organ in the oral cavity, which involved a lot of nerve receptors, and which again was also connected with the fire element, and the earth element was connected with the articulation and speech. Okay, so therefore, oral cavity tongue cancer seems to be a very accurate, bang on diagnosis. What's fascinating is that this is embedded, or this was known, this is kind of there in his chart at the time of his birth. Okay, this is kind of pre-programmed. Okay, again, as I said, we see one important aspect I want to make here, one important point I want to make here. Why did he recover so soon? How did he recover quickly? And for that we need to look at typically position of the sun in the D3 chart. Sun is what you call in the Kendra, it is in the fourth house. Okay, and a malefic in the fourth house usually does very well. So that's good for his health, number one. Number two, the Rahu Ketu axis is not passing through the affected Dreshkan in D3, and the Rahu Ketu axis is also not passing through his 6th, 8th, and 12th houses in the D1 chart. Okay, so which is a great benefit to him, because in D1 it's passing through his H4, H10, and in D3 it is passing through H5 and H11. So because of this, uh, there was no major karmic load in terms of something which he had to endure and lose his maybe half his face to surgery or something like that. So that's how come he recovered. Okay, so this is a brief analysis of localizing the disease. So now, let's look at basically uh, the dashas, because I want to see how come that the disease was announced in August of 2010, and do the dashas really support this? So I have here, if you see this slide in front of you, you see on top, the top row on the left side is Vimshottari, on the right side is Yogini. Okay, a Vimshottari is the traditional 120-year dasha system. Yogini is the 36-year cyclical dasha system. Now, as of 1st of August 2010, because he has announced to the public that he had oral cancer in August of 2010 as per Wikipedia. Now, from 3rd of April 2010 to 4th of September 2010, he was running Jupiter, Saturn, Venus. Okay. Now, Jupiter clearly is H6 Lord, mirror H8 Lord, positioned in H11, right? And so Jupiter Mahadasha, Saturn Antardasha. Now Saturn Antardasha here is a sort of a saving grace in a way, because Saturn is well placed in the D1 chart, also well placed, not that well placed in the D9, but it's not too bad either. So you have Jupiter, and Saturn is not implicated in the direct causation of the illness. So you have Jupiter Mahadasha, Saturn Antardasha, and Venus Pratyantardasha or Bhukti, as it is called. So in the Venus Bhukti, he announced it. Now if you go just down, there is a chart called the Mrityu Bhaga. Now Mrityu Bhaga is a point. If a degree which is defined for each planet in each sign, if a planet is placed in at that degree or within, let's say, 1 or 2 degrees of that point, it creates a lot of distress physically, mentally, even perhaps leading to death. What can be called as Mrityu Tulya Yoga or Mrityu Tulya Kashta. Okay, so here you see Venus here. Venus in Libra is at the degree that it is placed in this chart is in Mrityu Bhaga. But then the saving grace is that Venus is also in its own house in the ascendant. So therefore, being in the ascendant, it confers great strength, as we already discussed. Okay, but it's a point to note. So in the Venus Bhukti, this was announced. If you see the Yogini Dasha, you see here Mercury. You see that there is a Mercury Rahu Venus Dasha running from 25th of May 2010 to 12th of August 2010. So again, Mercury is causative along with Jupiter, as we already know. You see the Rahu sort of effect. Rahu is on the side, Rahu is not, but it is still producing mischief somewhere. The abnormal growth certainly indicates the Rahu affliction to Jupiter. And then again Venus. So Venus is again common here. So this is the Dasha analysis, and you see that the Dashas do not lie. They kind of corroborate our understanding of the D1 and the D9 analysis that we've done so far. Now, another point to note here is the 64th Navamaush. Okay. Now, if you remember the D9 chart which we just discussed, Moon was in Cancer in the 4th house. Okay. So therefore, the 64th Navamaush will be Libra, or the Lord of Libra, and the Lord of Libra being Venus. So Venus is the planet again implicated through the 64th Navamaush from the Moon. Okay, as you can see here, 64th Navamaush as per the Moon is Libra. You see it in the Yogi and Dagdha column. And then specifically also the 22nd Drishkan is looked at. 22nd Drishkan is typically the 8th house in the D3 chart. Now here it is Capricorn, the lord of which is Saturn. Now again, as we note, Saturn is quite well placed in the Drishkan Okay, therefore, in fact, it perhaps confers a level of um, a level of resilience in terms of this disease and the possibility of a better recovery. Okay, so that's not such a big problem. We also notice that there is no Sarpadreshkan, which means there are no troublesome planets to note in um, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces in the D3 chart. Okay, so this is an analysis in terms of the intricacies of medical astrology, and we see that there is a strong correlation. We see here the role of Jupiter and Mercury clearly. We see the role of Venus as all pervasive here. Okay, and uh, now I want to basically also discuss here the transits at the time of diagnosis, the Gochar. Now, this is very interesting to know because God does not play dice. There would have to be a suitable supportive Gochar or transit of planets which corroborate the timelines that we know of. Okay, so what we know is that he announced the disease in August of 2010, the tongue cancer or the oral cancer. Now, let's look at the planets. Jupiter was in Pisces in August of 2010. We see here that from 2 May to 2nd of May to 1st of November, it was it was progressive in Pisces. Perhaps before 2nd of May, it was retrograde. So therefore, on 1st of August, it was in Pisces in the 6th house. So there is no surprise. Jupiter really added this transit really added insult to injury and created the disease. Uh, let's look at the second important planet which is slow moving, which is Saturn. Now Saturn was all throughout 2009 to 2012. It was placed in Libra in the ascendant of Michael Douglas, in the Libra ascendant. Now this must have conferred a great deal of support to the ascendant. So therefore perhaps the strong recovery was owing to the presence of Saturn in the ascendant in transit at that period. And we see in the birth chart on the side that Saturn, even in the primary D1 chart, is in the ninth house, so very well placed. Okay. Although it is in Ardra Nakshatra, so the Ardra indicates the Rahu connection, but then it's not really such a bad connection. Okay, so Saturn is in a sense is protective. Now let's look at Mercury. Mercury at the time of 1st of August was in the 11th house. So am I surprised? I am not. Jupiter in the 6th house, Mercury in the mirror 6th house in the 11th house, okay, are direct pointers. Sun. Now Sun between 15th May and 15th June roughly, Sun was in the 8th house. Okay, so if you take this 2 months further, so from 15th June to 15th July, it would be in the 9th house. 15th July to 15th August, it would be in the 10th house. So Sun in the 10th house was not a bad position for transit that time, as of August when it was announced. But then we noticed that a few months before that, it was in the 8th house. So Sun was, as I said, Sun is a double-edged sword. Sun also confers immunity. Sun also uh, damages. Okay, but at the time of the announcement, Sun was reasonably well placed. Venus. Now, Venus is the most important actor here. Very fast moving though, but so therefore we'll have to look at more positions of Venus. So typically, as a build-up to 1st of August, we find that from 20th April to 15th of May 2010, Venus was in Taurus. Okay, and uh, Taurus is the 8th house. So Lagnesh in the Ashtam Sthana, so there was already trouble brewing there. Then subsequently, after two more, Rashi Sankrantis, Venus basically landed on the 11th house in Leo. So as of 1st of August, it was just leaving Leo and going into the 12th house. So in the 12th house, it is there from 1st August to 1st of September. So you again see that Venus also is placed in the 11th and the 12th houses at the time when he announced. Okay, so this is a kind of a confirmation of all that we have been talking about. Okay, so I think this is fairly comprehensive. I hope you have enjoyed this presentation. I have been as comprehensive as possible. I have not looked at the Ashtak Varga scores specifically because the scores are pretty good, really. And with high scores, again, high Ashtak Varga scores perhaps made the healing possible. Okay, so this is Dr. Rahul Kamath at Ursa Medica signing off with a quote from Homer's epic poem Iliad. A wise physician skills our wounds to heal is more than armies for the common weal. Common weal means common people. I think this is very relevant in the times of COVID 19. You may contact me at the email given below if you have any queries or seek any consultations. Thank you so much. God bless.